Welcome, everyone, to Talking with Tom and Jim. I'm your host, Jeff Greenwald. Next to me is Daniel Dye, who's an actor, writer, comedian. Above me, Tom Goldrup, Jim Goldrup. Tom, Jim, this is your show. They're actors, they're writers. They've written 4 books on the golden age of Hollywood, and they've traveled the world, and they have the craziest stories. And so, guys, welcome once more to your show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And we were talking in the break about theater, and I had to cut you off. Sorry if that was a little too rude. Talking! Because I wanted to make sure that we said it on camera. So I want to ask you guys both, what are some of the roles that you over the years in the theater that you've done that you've loved, and why?
Well, I'll let you go first.
It's kind of like a lot of parts. When you're playing the part, that's a favorite part, because you're alive with it at the time. I enjoyed a one-man show of Telltale Heart because that was one of the first things I did. I did it in high school, my senior year in high school, and I've done it several times
in Australia.
Yeah, Australia and here, I really enjoy playing a lawyer in the play Night on January 16th because of the challenge of being a lawyer playing the part of where you give the cues to the witnesses. But each time you come up with a new thing, so that was a challenge, I really loved it. I really felt the part when I started ad-libbing my closing speech to the jury. The jury is chosen from the audience, and they vote not guilty or guilty. And when I started adding to the speech, pieces of evidence that's brought up in the script and not brought up in this closing speech.
The script is written to where the person will probably get not guilty.
Yeah,
I directed that one.
So like when I mentioned about the date on the check, which would anyway would go to prove the guilt. One of the jury people in the jury turned to the woman next to her and said, "That's right." And so that's really okay. It kept me going.
And Jim let me know as a director he was going to do this on this night, and he also let the person playing the prosecutor that he was going to do it.
Yeah,
ahead of time.
And I won.
And he won. He won. That's the one. Yeah, he won that night.
I was the prosecutor. I won. And one of my favorite parts was the Last Bell, a play which we did 3 times.
3 times.
3 times, and then
no. We did the play 2 times.
Yeah,
then we did the movie.
I'm old. I forget. And the Cherry Orchard. I really love that play. I love the character. But each part you play.
For everyone at home, which character in the Cherry Orchard? What was the character's name in the Cherry Orchard?
What was that?
For everyone watching, because I know we've talked about this and I saw it.
FIRS. He's the aging servant to the family.
Right.
And it was a choice part, and I had a lot of nice compliments from people in the audience. So, but I love all the parts I play. Really, most every part.
Yeah, I enjoyed every part that I played. I had fun playing them. One of the plays, Jim and I, we produced it. It wasn't our own play. It was a play we paid royalties for. It was a 3-character play, and I really enjoyed that because Jim and I got to really play a lot together on it. It concerned 3 characters. Murder to Howard Johnson's. It concerned 3 characters. Me, my wife's lover. Act 1, him and my wife are plotting my murder. Act 2, my wife and I are plotting his murder. In Act 3, he and I are plotting my wife's murder. No one gets murdered, and it was
really fun working together.
It was really fun working together. That's the thing I really enjoyed about that. I loved the two roles I played in It's a Wonderful Life. I enjoyed Uncle Billy when I worked with you, and I loved playing Mr. Potter. I love playing bad guys, and I had a bad experience during that play. I had a small stroke, and everything I did, my last, especially, things kind of went haywire during the night, but the last night it was real bad. But the last scene, and I decided I was going to retire from. That's going to be my, after I finished the run of that show, and there was no more problems after the rest of the run of the show, but that's going to be it. And then I went to a theater meeting, and they had done auditions for the next play, and they still had one character to play. And the director kept saying, "We'd like to have someone like Tom." Rod said that about 3 times. So I said, "Okay, tell me about the character afterwards." And I was going to play a clergyman, a highwayman in the 1700s England, a highwayman who poses as a clergyman in town. Beau Stratagem is the name of the play. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Grandpa Joad in Grapes of Wrath, playing to a 500-seat theater. I enjoyed Henry IV, Part 1 at Shakespeare Santa Cruz, working with Tony Church, an English actor, and Paul Whitworth, an English actor. And there's 2 times when just Tony and I on stage at the same time, working with him, and another scene where Paul and I get into an argument, and he grabs me. I enjoyed that. Another play I enjoyed, it was the most emotional play I was ever in. It's the only time I ever brought the character home with me, because I would wake up at night dreaming about it, and I'd wake up with tears in my eyes. And that was A Diary of Anne Frank. Mm-hmm. And I played one of the characters that were in the house there with Anne Frank. And I loved the play, but it was a really emotional, draining play.
I went and saw, I'm going to add even more deep emotion to that. I went and saw your production of The Diary of Anne Frank, and right as the lights were going down to start the play, I quite loudly said to Becky, who I believe I was with, "How do you think this ends?"
Oh no.
I couldn't help it.
I'm a Nazi sympathizer.
Yeah, another night that I enjoyed, Jim and I, we did a night of monologues over in Redwood City. And as Jim was doing his thing on stage, I was backstage getting costumes and ready for mine. And I come out and do a thing, and he'd be back, back and forth. And one of the nicest compliments Jim and I received was an old man came up to us afterwards, and he said, "I haven't enjoyed myself this much at the theater since I seen Charles Lawton on stage in Chicago." And that was worth the whole, that made the whole night. And I like comedy. It's a Wonderful Life. I enjoyed It's a Wonderful Life. I played Mr. DePina in 2 different productions. And one night, this lady came up to me after, and she said that she gave me a really nice compliment. And her father was a professional actor in movies that did a lot of comedy, named Don DeFore. And she said, "You have your comedy down just right." And Peter Shirley in Major Barbara, my first play in junior college. That's really my first really good part. And that's the same part that my favorite actor, Peter O'Toole, that was his first part in the West End in London. So I kind of like playing the character, Peter Shirley. "I'll smash you with a fight with me mug and cut your eye out, I will," with my lines too. And yeah, and there are others. The melodramas were fun because you get hissed and booed when you're playing the villain. And like I meant, the Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, when I played, where else can you, an actor, play? I was a playwright in the play, who was his career was destroyed by a critic. Where else can you, an actor, poison the critic? I mean, I didn't really poison her. I had poison in my champagne glass I was holding up, knowing she would grab it out of my hand and drink it. So I guess where else can you do something like that? So I loved them all. I loved them all. Some more than others, but I love them all. And once again, like I said before, I love the work being with theater people. It's great. I directed 3 plays, and I directed 2 plays, and I co-directed 1 play, and it was satisfying when everything worked out. It came, at the end. But to me, directing is a job, acting is a job, but directing is a job where I don't really enjoy.